China is going through a rough pace. As we get to know more about the Evergrande crisis, the housing bubble crash is getting more and more visible. As the evidence burst starts, the economy is spiraling downwards. Evergrande was just a start. In accordance with popular predictions, the glitches in the system are unmistakably surfacing up as more property developers start to default. Property developer Cynic Holding, who had given a default warning from last week, has actually defaulted. Another developer, China Properties Group, has disclosed recently that they have defaulted on their 226 million worth of notes. As we dwell more into these developments, it is clear as crystal that the China economy has been cloggy and the crash has actually started. In this video, we are going to get into some scarier details that you might not be ready for. Before we go further, if you have not subscribed yet, please go ahead, click on that subscriber button and turn on the notifications so you don't have to search anywhere else for the latest finance news. So as I told, Cynic Holding has defaulted on 246 million in dollar bonds. And this is not a rare occurrence these days. Many real estate companies are struggling under the wheels. Cynic's rating has been put in selective default by the S&P. Many other China's real estate companies are being downgraded by credit rating agencies. Evergrande has already missed 3 bond payments so far. In the last few weeks, China's home sales have plummeted 17% and the property value is falling at an alarming rate. Starting from the Evergrande crisis, buyers are skeptical, which is leading to a massive fall in property value. The housing bubble in the country is worth $62 trillion and the country's 29% of GDP comes from this bubble. This sector is going down means it is taking the country along with it. China has been in the edge of bursting from many years now. The housing market was not going healthy. The country's property prices are 40 times higher than the average income of a Chinese citizen. This shows a real estate sector with unnaturally pumped up apartment prices. As the price increased, the number of people who could afford these fresh homes decreased. In the last 15 years, home prices have increased sixfold. New cities in China like Shenzhen has apartment prices higher than London. Could you imagine that? And those who could afford them anticipated investment opportunities in an increasing price situation. They bought and kept the homes fresh without living in there, so to sell them in few years. The start of this bubble has a lot to do with the capitalization of China and also the 1979 one-child policy. When this policy was actually implemented, it caused a decrease in number of girl children in the country. Thus made it difficult for the men to get women to start a family. So those men who owned an apartment were found more appropriate for marriage and were given priority by the available less in number girls. Considering this, Chinese families started to have one home for them to live in and a secondary home for the male kid and sometimes one more apartment for investment purpose. Even the families with girl child will buy a secondary home just in case. The increasing house prices only made it look like it's better to own a house as early as possible. As I mentioned before, the income of an average household is much less considering the home prices. Reports say that an average citizen saves around 50% of their income to be invested in a home as soon as possible in his life. At the same time, the China's local government supported this real estate spree, which helped the government's GDP grow so fast. Many of the property developers were building secondary quality apartments, and they have been making contracts with people at a rate which should not have been allowed. Millions of dollars are collected on contracts for homes which would be built after 4 to 5 years. The buildings are not built yet, and still the money has been invested by the buyer. The company has taken that money and they have used it in their business developments. This is all done anticipating the higher sales prices in future to tally. The pitfall here is that the bubble can burst. Once it starts cracking down, this cycle cannot balance itself. So there was not going to be an end to this. This was a vicious cycle which had been going on for so many years. The ghost cities in China with vacant apartments mounts up to around 50 million in number. As the old ghost cities turned into people-filled apartments, the housing industry built more empty apartments. That's unbelievably big of a bubble, but it is the harsh reality. It is just the basic rule of economics that if the prices are going way higher than the object's actual value, it indicates an imbalance in the system. and the system will balance itself by crashing down into dust. Another thing about China is that the individual investors don't own the land of their property. They don't actually fully own the land they buy. When they buy a property, they get the land beneath for a lease of 70 years from the government. After 70 years, you need to renew the lease. Normally, the apartment buildings do not survive that many years. After 20 to 25 years, the buildings are demolished to build new ones. That's the way Chinese government does massive constructions and developments in China. This also makes the buying and selling cycle of apartments in China a convenient option. The housing bubble got bigger and bigger, waiting to burst with the slightest intervention, and that intervention took place in 2020. When the Chinese government decided to control the debt binge of developers, they implemented the 3 red line rules. As per this rule, a company's debt-taking ability is controlled based on 3 criteria, all of which examines the liquidity of the firm. If a company does not satisfy at least one of these criteria, then it is not allowed to take any more debt. This was a shocker for the real estate as well as other industries. The real estate companies, which were all rolling under massive debts, had to stop. The CCP did this as a precaution against a possible housing bubble. The real estate development investment in China had grown more than 10% in last 2 years. So the government must have thought that there is room for a mid-deleveraging or debt reduction. Apparently, the policies have only helped to dig a bigger hole in the already hollow industry. Today, as the property value is coming down steeply, all the developers are in trouble. They have millions of dollars of commitment to be fulfilled towards their individual investors and debts. Evergrande alone is having 93% less sales this September than the same time last year. That's a huge shrink in liquid economy. In China, people's primary investment is real estate. A large part of their wealth is trapped in this sector. Decreased value of property is going to affect a majority of population, which is going to take the country downwards. Alongside this crash, we already know that China is facing energy crisis like many other parts of the world. Decrease in the availability of coal has caused a slump in the factories of China. Many factories are shut down or stopped operations in the last few months. This is going to affect the whole world. Majority of products circulated in the world economy is produced in China. An issue in China's economy is going to affect the economy everywhere else, which has started happening as I am speaking with you all. Amongst all of this, the Central Bank of China says that everything is under control. The central bank's governor Yi Gang said that they will try to prevent the spread of issues to other developers from Evergrande. That seems unlikely though. Chinese President Xi Jinping had already made it clear months before that he is not happy with what is happening in the real estate sector. He had commented that homes are to live in, not for speculation. However, the government's intervention has not been fruitful so far. Clearly, this is not an issue which was started by Evergrande. This was an ongoing contagion which started years ago, involved by the developers, the government, bank and the real estate industry. Officials criticizing the property developers is not going to solve this crisis. To speak the truth, there is nothing much the government or the bank can do now. At least that's what it looks like. Now, if you want to know more about what the Central Bank of China recently said about Evergrande, then take a look at this video.